Good morning again, folks. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do, this is what came in the door during the last video. Hold on, this is cool. Smells really good, too. See, I had an addiction to light blue by Dolce & Gabbana. But since they have been supporting JD, I've been trying desperately to find within Dior's catalog an actual scent that I like. I don't know if you can see this, but this is called Hypnotic Poison. It just came in. It smells awesome. I finally found something to replace light blue with. Freaking awesome. It smells great. I highly recommend. I bought it directly from the Dior website because I did. It's not the watered down version I could usually get from Walmart. And you can tell. Oh boy, you can tell. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. And please, buy it directly from the Dior website. Anything else you get from Walmart, it's always watered down. Just trust me on this one, alright? Even my kitty likes it. You're a good boy. Yeah. He's a good boy. This is my stress animal. He's a very good boy. And he likes pets. And sleeping on blankets. Not the point. Alright. To the disclaimers, right? In the description box, folks, you're going to find the link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It's written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's quote-unquote behavior modification program. Matter of fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read this article so much, they have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they do not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic has refused, so you know the drill, folks. Please read that article and share it on all your social media. We also have linked in there NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding, folks, in case the JRC has the balls to see through with their threat. We also have the single link while we rebuild the Agape/Stone for Help archive in regards to the Agape boarding school, now known as Stone for Help, situation. This is a school based out of Stockton, Missouri. It's Christian themed that takes on so-called troubled male teens that has and pending, folks, over 21 civil lawsuits, claims, and allegations leveled against it. These claims and allegations have been proven due to the hard evidence gathered by the investigation done by the Missouri Department of Social Services, and they include the following: rape, sodomy, sexual assault, child abuse, psychological and emotional abuse, child trafficking, starvation, and that's just for starters. You have one former staff member arrested by the FBI, another a doctor who's still on the premises, folks, still on the premises, upon multiple, again, substantiated claims of rape, sodomy, and sexual assault with the boys there. You have a brand spanking new attorney general who still, to this date, folks, to this date, has said nothing in regards to this situation or lawsuits. And you have a governor, fuck me, dude, oh my god, get me out of this state. Send help. Send help. We have a governor on a power trip with full control over the Missouri National Guard. So, folks, please read that article by Ozarks first and share it on all your social media. We got the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign as well, including Hoya's massive archive on the subject, a link to Jennifer Masamba's behavioral sheet of shockable offenses, a clip out of the 7-hour ordeal undergone by Andre McCollins back in 2002, the templates, and the ever-present self-explanatory Change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. When we discuss the JRC, folks, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of peoples with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones, all right? Okay, thank you. This channel is marked not for children for a reason. We use profanity and we speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, parental supervision is very much advised. Trigger warning, we are about to descend into the mad ravings of the lunatic mind known as Dr. Matthew Israel. You're going to hear gaslighting, victim blaming, lies, and I do mean lies, pseudoscience, bad medicine, abuse and torture apologencia, enough ableism and bigotry to circle the globe a few thousand times, and enough of arrogant, ignorant egotism that I'm actually surprised he can manage to fit through a doorway in a building. So just be prepared for that, all right? All right, before we read the stupid, because he's helping mommies, would you like to see the people? Do you like to see the people? You see the meow. He's a good meow. He is. He's a good boy. He's very sheepish. Very sheepish. This is how I keep calm when I'm dealing with multiple days of stupid on the phones. He sits in the chair next to me and he just sits there and he gets petted and he purrs. You'd be surprised how much that actually helps. Reasonable accommodations, right? Okay. So now we shall go ahead and get to it. Now, in the last episode, we were going over how this dumbass was actually trying to use the ADA as an argument to support him because he considers his device a reasonable accommodation. It's not. And I, in fact, explained in my own life how a reasonable accommodation is actually supposed to work. It's not actually a torture device. It's not supposed to cause you any kind of physical pain. It's supposed to act as a prop or something that can be used to make something a little bit easier. Okay? In fact, you neurotypicals don't realize it, but you use reasonable accommodations every single day. But because you're neurotypical, we just don't call them that. What do you call a car? A car that allows you to go to the grocery store and go on trips. Are they absolutely necessary to make those things happen? Well, if we look to the past, no, they're not. But do we use them to make our lives easier? Yes. On the most technical terms, that is a reasonable accommodation. Take this little remote here. Back in the day when you had TVs, we're talking 80s. Those old box things that weighed about 100 pounds, right? If you were lucky. Most of them did not come with remote controls. You had to actually go up and change the dial to change the channel or to reduce or increase the volume. This allowed us to be able to do so from our seats. This, technically, is a reasonable accommodation. Our cell phones. With landlines, are they 100% necessary? No. But it does make the ability to be able to call someone if you're in an emergency or keep in touch with your family if you're out. Makes things a lot easier, doesn't it? That's also a reasonable accommodation. And what do these things all have in common, neurotypicals? None of these in any way, shape, or form do anything to cause you any kind of pain. Matter of fact, what it does is it makes your life easier, not more difficult. If you compare that to the GED device, and you can obviously see where I'm going with, right? You can't call something a reasonable accommodation because you want to use it to save your ass, doctor. Okay? Your GED device in no way, shape, or form fits the definition for a reasonable accommodation. Sit down, Karen. But anyways, let's get to reading, shall we? Regulations promulgated by the Massachusetts DDS pertaining to behavior modification expressly provide that a competent individual may elect treatment which includes aversive therapy or level 3 interventions as they are referred to in the regulations. We're going to play fast and loose with the truth today. Can I tell you what that is? Let's do that, okay? In the state of Massachusetts, the only ones who enjoy this special level of permission is the JRC. There is no other program or school in the state of Massachusetts that uses level 3 adversives. The only reason why the Massachusetts, as a state, the DDS, why they allow this to continue to go on is because, very simply put, the JRC has them over a barrel. Speaking as someone who's worked in the field, if we're talking about adults with disabilities here, one of the most underfunded programs, bar none, besides the special ed programs, is without a doubt the Departments for Disabilities. We lose millions of dollars every year. About every year, we have to tighten the amount of people that are allowed access to these programs because the money is not there to accommodate the demand. Okay? Simply put, DDS does not have the unlimited funds that the JRC does to be able to fight them. They've literally had them over a barrel since 1986. What he's also not going to tell you is this is the exact same department that after the death of Linda Corneliusen tried to get the JRC closed down. But again, due to funds, which are not unlimited for these departments, that actually have to be used to provide treatments and other things for the consumers that they look after, they couldn't afford to do this lawsuit ongoing forever. Okay? So what happened because of this? The 1986 decree that the JRC has basically used to beat the state of Massachusetts over the head with for decades now. Decades. And that decree has never been overturned. The JRC would tell you it's because they realized it was safe. No, Karen. The truth is, what Dr. Matthew Israel again doesn't want you to know, limited funding. And if you think that it's gotten better since the 80s and that we're now more well-funded, it's actually gotten a lot worse. Millions of dollars are being taken from the federal and state programs that oversee us every single year. Every single year. Okay? I just wanted to make that very clear there. I'm explaining it to you because he's trying to infer that they agree that this is safe and the only way. They do not. They simply do not have the infinite funds to continue to fight them on this. Okay? Please spare me the bullshit, doctor. Now let's get into it. Specifically, the regulations provide that for treatment plans that include aversive interventions where the individual is 18 years of age or older or is deemed mature minor under the applicable law and is able to provide informed consent to a plan of treatment, the plan may be implemented upon his or her acceptance of its provisions. That's a lie, doctor. That's a lie. The kids he takes in are minors, folks. Means legally they can't consent to anything. Anything. Okay? It is the parents. And if the parents disagree and they start questioning things, that's when the JRC strong arms them, gets custody removed from the parents, and then uses that as a means to get a court-appointed guardian. And we already know that they have the court wrapped around their fucking little pinky finger, who will continue to approve of these abuses. And folks, if you think that sounds corrupt, it's because it is. Okay? These individuals that are court-appointed guardians are not for the best interests of the children, even though they tell you that they are. They are not better educated than the judges are on what programs are out there. Nor are they better educated than the parent signing their kid up for it as to what in actuality they are signing the kid up for. Not to mention JRC, just like Agape, now Stone for Help, just like so many programs like it that are prevalent now throughout the troubled teen industry, will prep these parents by saying, well, they're going to complain, and you just have to dismiss whatever they say because it's not true. Right? Right? It's what they do. It's what they do. In fact, these are the very reasons why communication coming in or going out of those places is so tightly controlled. These people read the letters the kids send home and will edit them. These individuals will have a staff member sitting there while a student is speaking to their parents on the phone. They control everything. Do you see where I'm going here? This is not truly informed consent, folks. Propaganda does not give one enough information to make a truly informed consent. A truly informed consent would mean that Dr. Israel would sit these people down, and after propaganda videos were done and over with, without saying a fucking word, nothing in his defense, nada, zilch, play that video of Andre McCollins. That would be informed. That would be actual give full consent or give full fuck you. Right? But Dr. Matthew Israel and his acolyte who's running the business now is not going to do that. And why won't they do that? Why do they want to hide it if it's so miraculous? Because it's bullshit, and they know it's bullshit. Okay? Let's make this particular video sweet, shall we? He will give you facts without giving you the full context of those facts or the history behind them. Because if you go digging or the rabbit hole, holy fuck. Because we've dove down that rabbit hole on this channel. We know what they've done to basically have DDS over a barrel. DDS cannot do anything whatsoever. All their powers of being the authority and actually being able to control what goes on in that school has been systematically stripped away from them. The only thing they can do is just sign that note every year. Because if they don't, they're going to get the JRC lawyers beating them over the head with the 1986 decree. Okay? They do not sign on because they endorse what the JRC is doing. It is very much the opposite. Nor is the doctor going to tell you that no other school inside the state of Massachusetts, special ed or otherwise, are able to use level 3 aversives on the kids. Matter of fact, none of the other school programs in the state use any kind of aversives. At all. None. Okay? That should tell you something. If DDS had the control to actually regulate this program that they are supposed to have, this place would have been closed decades ago. Decades ago. All right? So, what is the DDS regulations? What are the so-called safe proofs that happened in 1986? What he's mentioned before. It has to be court approved. It has to be reviewed annually. Yeah. None of these fail-safes work for these kids. And that's because judges are lawyers first. They went to law school, not medical school. Okay? nor do they have any way to be able, because they're judges. Judges have, especially in small areas, have massive amounts of cases that they have to oversee every single day. They barely have time to go about their normal lives, let alone be able to go and actually be able to view these programs the way that they should be viewed. So they simply sign off. Of course, the JRC knows this, and they're going to play upon it, because they're going to roll every single kid they want to put on that shock device up like they're fucking Hannibal Lecter and Silence from the Lambs. They're going to do everything they can to make this judge think it's the only way, just in case they might find one that has a soul. All right? It doesn't work. Quit trying to use it. And quit trying to use Massachusetts DDS. They were the ones who tried to get you closed down in 1986. They've been working behind the scenes for years to try to get that 1986 decree overturned, in which case they do not have any authority to be able to regulate you whatsoever, even though that is what they're there for, to regulate you and the others. The only reason why they are able to use those level 3 interventions is the 1986 decree. The only reason why DDS has not shut them down is that same decree. The fail-safes that are put in there are ages and ages outdated and should have never been put there in the first place. True fail-safes would have been to have a board of doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, and neurologists oversee this. And these to be doctors that do not in any way, shape, or form have any ties, either personal or otherwise, to the center, to then review yearly. And that these individuals would actually go to the premises and get absolute full access to everything. Not controlled access, but full access. Those would be fail-safes. I'm going to go ahead and close on that. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So folks, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit those comments. I do appreciate your time this morning. As always, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.